Greetings and salutations, race fans, motorsport lovers and others, and welcome to Day 4 of Dakar 2021, the South African edition, influence and impact. This is Raceday.tv, and I'm joined by the most beautiful and fosterest co-driver, navigator in the history of the world, Elvene Vonk. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us. It's a privilege to have you here.
Thank you for the invite and the nice compliment.
And there's more compliments coming, and there's lots of questions. We're going to talk to Elvene about rallying, cross-country, Dakar, bicycles and cars, and some other stuff. So it's going to be lekker. Also, Andrew Horn, the Horn Dog, is sitting close by monitoring the Facebooks and the YouTubes and the interwebs and catching your questions. So if you've got any questions, send them in. Andrew will answer them. Andrew, how's it? How are you?
All right, and you, Colin. How's it, Elvene? I'm glad that we have a prettier face in the studio tonight than Colin's. That's always an improvement.
And you saying that she's prettier than Terence?
That goes without saying. I don't know who I'd be more scared of, Elvene or Terence.
Talking about pretty people, from somewhere close to the sea, in a place far, far away, on the southern tip of this continent called Africa, is Stephie Vetter, the originator, the founder of, with a huge team, of the Southern African Dakar Group. Stephie, thank you very much for joining us. How's the Cape?
Hello, Colin. Hi, Elvene. So lovely to see you again. Hello, Andrew. Well, look, it's a bit dark and dusty and a bit misty, but, you know, I think it's a bit indicative of what happened out there today.
It was an interesting day, and we're going to mix things up a little bit, and I'm just looking for the little picture that I've got over here so that we can discuss it. A lot happened today on the stage. There was drive shafts, crashes, stucks, and a whole lot of speed, and some people missed places that they should have been. And I think that to round out the South African influence, and we've got bikes, cars, and some stuff on the quads. We're going to go, Stephie, straight into you. We're going to come back to Elvene. So if you've got questions for her about how to tell somebody where to go and how to go, make them go fast, exactly where you want to go, she's the one. Typical woman in the seat. They tell the guy where to go and what to do. But Stephie, let's go straight into the results, because you've been pedaling since early o'clock today. Give us the absolute highlights. Yesterday, you spoke about Mr. Howes on his bike, and he came through, didn't he?
He definitely did. You know, Skylar, as I said last night, I was so impressed with his performance last night. But look at him today. He went out there on the 450 Rally replica. It's not even a factory bike. And he smashed it. He came fourth overall on stage. And now he is GC P1. I mean, I'm so proud of him. It's really fantastic to see. But let's not forget about our Rossi, our Kalahari Ferrari, who had to open the road today with the other guys. It was Russian roulette out there. I mean, you've got Ross P17 on stage, James P89 in the Malamoto. So if you look at yesterday, we had Bereda Brabeck Quintanilla. Today we've got, in the GC, we've got Toby Benavides, Matthijs Valkner, who actually had a mechanical yesterday. And now we've got Skylar P1, De Sultre, and Toby Price. So it's completely turned on its head.
And the gaps are small as well, which is really, really cool.
Small. In the GC of the bikes, there's only 1.5 minutes between the top three, which is phenomenal. I mean, it's a phenomenal result from this incredibly difficult day that they had out there. But we'll get back to that a bit later. But let's look at the cars, because if you look at the cars on stage, NASA Alatia, I mean, just doing their thing out there. This is their home turf. They know this inside out. But
the Dune Surfer.
In P2, Henk Latergan and Brett Cummings, a mere 2 minutes 27 behind NASA. I mean, it was just an incredible performance.
And it was what was remarkable about that is that at one stage he dropped down over I think it was 3.5 odd minutes, and then came back, but proper strong towards the end. And also for a young guy like that, and this footage comes from his dad, I mean, that gives you an idea of some of the terrain. But to put yesterday's absolutely crap stage behind him with all the trouble, to refocus and have a rock solid day today, and to 2 minutes off NASA. I tell you what, he's woken up the world of cross-country racing. They know who Henk Latergan is now.
Absolutely, spotlight on. I mean, Henk and Brett had such a clean run today. They literally went point to point. If you followed their track and trace, it was just incredible to watch. We just sat there in awe, watching what they were doing when there was mayhem in PK 42. I mean, it was complete mayhem. But let's not forget about our other guys who are in the stage and in the running. We'll come back to them later as well. Brian and Tay had a hard day out there today, ending up in P32 on stage. Janelle P27, Shamir P49. But this has also
Shamir had a really horrible day again today. It's a proper character building for him.
Absolutely rough day. We're going to go into really some good solid news from the bivvy that's come out through to us today. In the GC on the cars, it's also been a bit of a Russian roulette. You've got Peter Hansel Alatir and Matthew Siridori. Now, Matthew and Fabian are also in a proudly built South African CR6.
Yeah.
And Matt and Fabian also had a flawless run. I mean, they are just representing out there. Henk has now jumped into the top 10, 7th overall in the GC. And, of course, you've got another...
He's only 47 minutes behind, which in the GC, which is, we've seen massive chops and changes. You know, miss a waypoint and you get a 20-minute penalty, not so lacquer.
I mean, Colin, if you think about it, you watch Carlos Sainz and Yazid just running around in circles at that waypoint 42. News on the ground said it was carnage out there. There were just cars coming and going, and we'll get onto it on the bikes as well. So
I'm told that cars and bikes got very, very close to each other. They may even, no names, no petrol, but a car may have even tried to occupy the same space as a bike. I'm told.
Allegedly so. And the bike, who then got going again, apparently roosted the person that bumped into him. But more about that later.
That doesn't do such good stuff on the front of a of a windscreen of a car that may have allegedly got very close to him. Some say.
No, not at all. Not at all. Moving from the results, let's go on to Ross's day.
Yeah. I mean, we know he's quick. We know take and navigate, and the car is absolutely awesome. So give us a summary of what went down there.
You know what, again, there's so much news coming in from Saudi, Colin. It was really hard to keep up today. But you mustn't forget, Ross opened the road today. You know, if you take the Breivik, Bereda, Quintanilla, combination with Ross from yesterday, they were in the hot seat today, and it was really, really hard. They had no tracks to follow. Everyone else coming behind them had the tracks to follow. But, I mean, Rossi absolutely consolidated. He did so well today to end up 6th in the GC overall, which I believe leaves him perfectly positioned for attacking again tomorrow.
It's going to be 6 minutes off the lead at the moment, and tiny gaps. And I know it's early, but it's tight. It's lovely and tight.
It's so exciting. You know, there's 9 stages still to go. So I think every day it's going to be more of the same. I don't think we're going to have any inkling what is going to happen on the day. I'm almost thinking it's going to be who wants to open the stage. Not me, thanks. You can have it. Because honestly, it's just turning into, there is a word for it, a chicken shoot. Unbelievable.
A shit show.
Yes, that too.
More like it. Yeah, we're allowed to say that. The other thing, Daniel Saunders, he's the leading rookie. He's 16th at the moment. He's 15, call it 16 minutes off the front, but it includes 7 minutes of penalties. So you get a penalty, it's time lost. You never ever get time lost back, do you?
No.
There you go. And I mean, that take that, ifs, ands or buts, doesn't really work in motor racing. But that would have put Daniel as a rookie right up there in the top 6 or 7. So, man, it's exciting. But I want to know about James Alexander. Our Melimoto Botswana.
Yeah, Chucky Saunders is keeping it really interesting up at the front on that KTM of his. James, you know, James is like a John Deere tractor. I promise you, he just keeps on going. He's found his rhythm. He's got his pace. He knows where he's going. He's a weekend warrior. He's representing the weekend warriors. He just wants to finish. He had a couple of shockers today, though. He took a high side off one of the big dunes. We'll get back to that as well. But on the way to the stage, on the way to the special, James actually got lost. His ERTF went down, and guess who helped him? The legend, NASA Alatia. Fritz, have you got that video that we can roll?
Great. So, just come to say thanks to NASA.
Thank you.
My ERTS turned off in the town and I was lost. Then I waited for the first car. Great to meet you.
Thank you, me too.
You're
Thank
a hell of
you.
a legend. And
Thank you so much. And good luck, huh?
Thank you very much.
Still we
NASA.
have 10 days, huh?
Yeah,
you
still
need
have
to enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks,
Good,
NASA.
good.
Thank you very
my
much.
friend. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
That's proper spirit of Dakar, that.
You know, and it's so special, and you just see James' enthusiasm. I mean, he's so excited to be there. Never mind the fact that he's absolutely one of his heroes, NASA Alatia, you know, gets to actually say, don't worry, it's cool, calm down, we'll get you there. He did, as I said, he had a high side off one of the dunes, and interestingly enough, he explained that the new device, the jacket that they're wearing, actually obviously inflated, and he was so out of breath, but he had to wait for the jacket to deflate before he could actually carry on. But he said
that's the new airbag that they've different companies have developed, so that when you fall, you've got air that cushions you, and it's not just straight into your body. It's a brilliant device.
That's correct.
Brilliant.
It's a brilliant device, and you know what? It's so awesome to actually see it in real time with one of our pilots. You know, we hear about it. We hear about the new safety measures that have been put in place, but to actually hear it from James himself, explaining, breathless, that thank goodness for this new device, because, you know, it could have been nasty. He's all good. He's absolutely fine. He said the dunes were amazing, but you were doomed if you didn't have momentum going into them. It was energy sapping trying to get out of them.
Stephie, I mean, I've got a question for you. You mentioned Skylar's on a replica bike. What's the difference between a replica? I know nothing about motorbikes. What's the difference between a replica and a full works bike?
Okay, so what we're going to also do is we're going to ask the gurus out there to get involved. So please throw your questions at Andrew. Feel free to jump in at any time. So basically they're very similar. To the naked eye, you would be hard to spot the differences. But the factory KTMs run on a much more robust, high-end components. In other words, for durability, weight as saving, and the suspension, valving, the gearbox, the clutch. So I do believe they've also got a speed control on the factory bikes, but I stand corrected. And thank you to Graham Sharp as well for giving me a greater insight into this aspect of the rally. But still, it's phenomenal. He's not on a factory setup bike, flying P1 in the GC. It's amazing.
I got sent a picture of some fuel. Fritz, if you can have a look at show us that picture of the fuel. And I mistakenly said they've got some fuel in their water, but it's water in the fuel. Have you been, I'm told that this came out of a bike that had to stop and they couldn't get it going. Have you heard comments about water and fuel?
Absolutely. We were in touch with Kira and Justin, who are very well known in America. They run an online magazine called Upshift Online. And Kira actually posted today that they that's how much water was in Andrew Short's fuel. And now, as you know, Andrew Short, who's one of Rossi's teammates, had to actually withdraw because of this. He couldn't get his fuel system working in the field. And sadly, you know, Andrew's out. Stuart Gregory dropped me a note today as well, saying that Neil Hawker said the fuel has become an issue and that they're actually carrying an extra fuel tank.
Filter.
That's him. That they're actually changing halfway. So it is becoming an issue. So we're going to watch that one really, really closely.
Right, let's get on to some cars, Stephie, because that you know me and cars, and I'm actually super, I mean, Elvene, you've raced against Henk and Brett here.
Yeah.
And how cool is it? You've measured yourself against them here. And the reason I'm going with this is because we like to look to the future. Why are you blushing? for him to come in second today is a massive achievement.
Massive achievement. For sure, 100% to Henk and to Brett. I mean, it's unbelievable for a rookie in his first year on the third stage of Dakar.
Yeah, especially
Unbelievable.
after the disaster
well
of
done.
yesterday.
Well done to them.
And the other one so we've got two Hiluxes, first and second. And then we've got a CR6 in fourth with Yassir, which is another South African designed and built car. Matthew and Fabian Lerquin in eighth position. And then my notes tell me in 32nd space. But it would have been 25th space for Brian Baragwanath and Tay Perry, because there's an extra 21 minutes added on there for, man, it's got to be heartbreaking when you can't find a waypoint, Stephie.
Yeah, they had a day. They definitely had a day. It was all action again. You know, the thing is, I spoke to Tay just before we came on air. They're really upbeat. They're going to race again tomorrow. The 21 minutes comes from missing waypoint 42. They took the decision to actually just give it a bye, move on. And of course, they got caught speeding again. So that's where the 21 minutes comes from. But they also had technical issues with their comms. So from a few kilometers into the stage until PK 217, they could not hear each other. So they were sign languaging. They were trying to get the information to each other, which made it incredibly difficult. Brian, in Paris, he hit the one water hole in the Free State. Well, today he hit the one mound of camel grass. And Donovan Fick, who's their logistics, the technician who's giving me all the information and to the team, said that they hit almost 5 Gs when they bumped. So they had some really serious stuff out there today. They also had a flat tire. But you know what? That is Dakar. You have the highs and you have the lows. If you look at Century Racing, you've got Mathieu in Seradori in third place overall. Yazir right up there in the GC. You've got Tay and Brian who've just been pushed out of the top 10. So there's 9 stages to go. Clean runs, good nav, they'll be fine.
And probably the disaster of the day again, Shamir Variawa and Dennis Murphy. I mean, I really, really feel for them. They got stuck. Then they had a total of 5 flats. They had to get big borrow steel tires. They broke a drive shaft. Janelle de Villiers also broke a drive shaft, and
2 flats.
It broke when it got flats as well. Yeah. It broke when they were stuck, so they had to dig the car out. No, not those drive. Those are side-by-side drive shafts that we'll get to that when they start changing that. So Janelle, they had to dig the car out, then change a drive shaft, so they lost a truckload of time. And Shamir and Dennis but they will actually get going again. But Horndog, it looks like you've got some questions already.
Well, yeah, it's exploded with everything that Stephie's thrown out. With regards to the difference between the replica and the factory bike, I don't know if this is a fair thing because Stuart Gregory's been there. He says factory bikes got a better ECU, a bit more power. The factory bikes have 52mm shocks and the customer bikes have 48mm shocks. And Garth Roberts has said definitely the motors are stronger than the stock bikes.
And the major difference between them, as far as I know, Andrew, and it's an important one, is that there's an extra naught in euros at the end of the price tag. And it's also got full of unobtainium in it. The factory bike.
Absolutely. Work on it yourself either.
Andrew, I think you're in the middle of a thunderstorm in the south of Joburg. Oh no, it's Melville. Have the Butts come back to Melville already?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, he's back. He's back.
I'm back. The other question, which I think is quite cool, with regards to what Stephie was saying with people driving around in circles, which I think Elvene can answer, is why is it so easy to get lost? Is it a technology limit, or is it this road book 30 minutes beforehand?
No. When you get lost, and all navigators don't want to get lost, I promise you that's the last thing we want to do on Earth. But I think it's just a lack of judgment. It's that quick decision that you need to make, and then a sound judgment, and also to be true to your driver as well when you're in the moment, so that he can also put heads together to make a decision where you need to go. But yeah, navigation, you need to be on it. If you are in a split second doubting yourself, then it's lost.
And it's probably one of the most difficult things to do, where you head down, you're looking at distances and all the rest of it. The car's wheel spinning, so the distances might not be absolutely true. Things are happening really fast, and they've got hidden waypoints, and the organizers have made a conscious decision to make it bloody difficult. So it's not, we normally put a GPS on and just listen to the thing, and then you drive down the highway, and it's a piece of cake.
And you can see, when you put the GPS on, you can see actually. So when you're in the navigator seat, normally when they set up the vehicle, you quite low down as well for gravity and that sort of thing in quite center. So when you look at the car, you can't see the nose of the vehicle. So when they're driving and when the car is lifting, you see sky. So now you don't know where you are. You're in the book all the time, and when you hit the ditch, it also you don't know where to brace yourself as well.
It must be hell of a.
No, it's an impact. It's an impact, but that's why.
And you don't see it coming.
We race with our bum and our feet a lot because we need to brace, because we can't see and we don't have a steering wheel to brace ourselves on. So it's quite difficult. And then when you have your nose in the book, you're so focused on what you need to see and how the picture looks and what you see outside, that's when you doubt yourself and when you get lost.
With the electronic notebook, massive tablet, it's a lot bigger. You tested it. No, you went in the...
We didn't test it. Alex Harrow did.
Alex tested it here. There are some stories, Andrew, coming back that some of the guys are battling to keep up with the book and... keep up with the new technology, but you've got to get used to this kind of stuff. It's the same for everybody. Some guys got it absolutely right, some guys didn't. And as Elvene says, it's not an easy task. So, for people who are doubting and saying, well, come on, you're a professional navigator, you shouldn't, or co-driver, you shouldn't get lost. It's a bloody difficult task. Any other question you've got? Andrew? Right, so we've got Andrew's gone. I want to just very, very quickly, let's go onto the side-by-sides and the lightweights. Chaleco is, Stuart Thompson sends a picture today and he says Chaleco is the Chilean version of Alfie Cox. You got a picture of him there, Fritzy? And he's still leading on the side-by-sides. Austin Jones and Gustavo Gugelman is second. So there's Alfie Cox, but in Chile. NASA's younger brother, and this is in particular reference to Elvene, because NASA's younger brother's chief mechanic is Leroy Poulter. He was fifth on today's stage. So on the side-by-sides, the South Racing guys are all taking them in for a front drive shaft and front gearbox change tonight. That's part of all the plane maintenance, and Fritz has got some pictures of the drive shaft and the gearbox there. Just to give you a quick idea of, that's the front diff of the side-by-sides, the Can-Am, and pretty much standard, and then drive shafts. They, again, supposed to be standard-ish, but there's little bits of fettling and radii and stuff and bits and pieces. We can finally go, Fritz, to that picture of that jumping bucky, because Elvene is in the bucky with Lance Woolridge, and that's quite, it's a beautiful picture.
Beautiful.
And thank you. I've got to credit the source of it from Elvene's Facebook page. You and Lance have had a very interesting time, and in last year's cross-country series, you ran in the top class with a slightly modified car, because your new fancy bucky,
is coming.
The real thing, is still coming.
Yeah, no, we're quite excited about it. We can't wait. Both of us, we can't wait. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of extra time together like we would have hoped, because you need to groom into it. You need to get to know one another. But in the short period of time, we just gelled. So for now, it's going good.
You don't gel easily with drivers. There's some people that you refuse to get into the car with.
Sure.
And there's 2 rally drivers that I know that you're very, very fond of and rate incredibly highly as
Oh, really, Colin?
precious
Who
drivers.
are they?
One might be playing as a mechanic now, and the other one from Toyota that you rated as the best driver that you've ever sat with.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
No. You tell me.
No, Colin. It seems like you've been feeding, getting information from somewhere.
One day I asked you a question, and I said, who was the best driver that you sat with? What is your answer?
Yeah. Look,
You've got to be very careful now. hey?
let's go just one step back to when you asked me. So I don't get into the car with anybody, quite right. And I actually thought of just, retiring. And then Lance phoned, and I couldn't leave it. So next to Leroy, obviously, if Leroy wasn't racing, then
it's a
I would get in the car with
massive
Lance.
opportunity
No,
because
brilliant.
Neil Woolridge Motorsport
Yep.
effectively run the Ford, or they do run the Ford cross-country operation in South Africa. They are designing the most beautiful carbon fiber for days, lovely new cross-country racing T1, a vehicle with, it's got a twin-turbo petrol engine, 4-wheel drive. It's designed, looks like it's designed to take on a cross-country race in sort of January of the world, would one say?
Colin, you've been there. I haven't. So you know probably more than I do.
No, you know a lot more. Okay, so the cars are being built now, and we do know Ford are there with Martin Prokop with a F-150. He was running as high as 3rd at one stage.
Yeah.
But this is Ford South Africa. This is Ford Ranger. This is Ranger country.
Yes, it is.
And it's ideal that Ford South Africa would get together with Ford America. And could it be that Dakar's on the
Look, I've been watching Martin Prokop's time as well, and as well as Sebastian Loeb. They're running the same engines basically. So it's never off the table.
And now, just talking about this year's Dakar, you doing Dakar, this year's Dakar with Neil Woolridge Motorsport. The whole team is doing Dakar this year. But there's a twist. What's the twist?
Yeah. Look, Lance is quite inspiring and very creative in what he does. So he has grabbed the team together and he said, well, we're doing the Dakar with the Oaks in Dakar as well this year. So for every 100 kilometers of stage that they race, we do either 5 kilometers of cycling or we do 1 kilometer of running. So since Sunday, we've been training with them.
And how did you had to phone and get permission to skip training? Because
I did.
This is how important Raceday is. A future Dakar co-driver skips training to come and talk to you.
Look, I did 40 minutes this morning, and then I had to get ready for work, otherwise I was going to be late. But in cycling, you can train 40 minutes of indoor cycling, and you only do 7 kilometers. I was supposed to do 20 kilometers today, so I have to make it up. Yes, I have to make it up tomorrow, double time.
I wouldn't like to be that that bicycle. There are very few professional racing drivers and racing people in this country. And you, like everybody else, apart from Janelle and maybe Hank and 1 or 2 others, you've got a day job.
Yes.
You sell cars.
I do.
Tell us about Land Rover Eastrand.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's one of the biggest dealerships in our country. So we run a tight ship. And from 7:30 to 5:30 in the evenings, we need to sell cars and make stuff work.
But it's got its upside as well, because you can take demo cars that might need some running in, fleet cars.
Sure.
And go to the
we demo cars a lot. I don't hope my boss is looking at this.
We hope he's not. When you look for a driver, you say that there's some pretty cool drivers that you've been with, and there's some that I'm half jokingly said, if I got to get into a rally car, would you navigate for me? And you said to me 2 words, Now, I've got feelings, and I was hurt. What is it that you look for in a driver that gets you to get in the car with him?
Yeah, look, he has to obviously be realistic. Well, you have to be realistic, and it's a dangerous sport that we're in. So you don't want to get in the car with any oak that, you know, will upset your whole future ahead of you. You know, crashing and breaking bones, and, you know, we don't look pretty with broken bones and scars all
But
over
it's
us.
also pain is not an option. Eh?
No, it isn't. It isn't. But when you found the right driver and you know and you gel together, you have to gel in the car. Otherwise, it's not a formula.
You did mention that you and Lance and Stephie, we haven't forgotten about you, but I'm torn between women. You've gelled very, very quickly with Lance, and just seeing the two of you in the pits, and that there's a relationship. There's mega trust, and there's like almost you speak a different language.
Yeah, it's kind of quite cool how we gelled so fast, because I can see it in the pits as well. You know, we kind of look over our shoulders just to see where the other one and what we're doing, and just connecting in some way, just to be as a team and know what we need to do and need to sort out, and where we can support one another in the car. And I'm always looking for ways to help him in the car. I need to pick up what he needs, what information he needs, what he needs. And
in the voice that changes
Yep.
when either the driver or co-driver is not really certain or has got a point, and you get to understand that.
Pick it up.
It's like when, you know, you
Yeah.
married and your husband says to you, "How are you?" And you say, "Fine."
Fine.
Yeah, so there's fine. Stephie, are you fine? Close to the sea, but you've got a bucket load of information, and sorry for just, I mean, as I say, I'm torn between two beauties. Stephie, share some more of the stuff that you were privy to today.
I just want to also, I want to throw something in that's really, really special to our hearts, because Gerrit de Tooy is one of our favorite sons in the biking fraternity. And of course, Mira, their company named after his gorgeous daughter, makes racing jackets. And I've just been reminded by Donnie van der Langenberg, another Dakar alumni, that Skylar is proudly wearing the Mira outfits. Look how gorgeous they are. I'm so, so proud of them. This year, well, last year, 2020, a couple of our guys were in them as well. Tay was in the Mira kit, and I just think it looks phenomenal. So, guys, come on, get the word out there. Get some more support for South African.
So it's Mira, M-I-R-A.
M-I-R-A. Capital M-I-R-A. Go and like their Facebook page. They've also got an online shop in conjunction with an American platform now, which is just fantastic news. So I'm just going, yay, proudly South African, guys.
I mean, we speak, you know, the guys here in our production team and our legal department were on my back today, because yesterday apparently it was the Southern African impact, the Southern African influence, the Southern African story. South Africa plays a mega huge role in Dakar, from the cars, the bikes, the teams, the equipment, its drivers, crews. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. The times like these that I really, really do feel proudly South African.
You know, Colin, it's so interesting that you say that, because one of I've been privy to some of the discussions, but RSM made Karamba Javi, he's also on a motorbike, he's got a quad, he had an accident, he's riding again, is actually one of Brian and Tay's sponsors this year. So you can go on their platform as well. It is fantastic. They only punt South African made goods. So with the COVID and, you know, with the world that we're in now, let's get behind South African products. But I have some questions I want to throw at you. Can I throw them at you quickly?
Go for it.
Okay, so I've been going through some of the comments on our platform, and one of the most interesting comments, and we're going to actually have Gillian Dykes on our show on Saturday. Now, for all of you who don't know who Gillian Dykes is, Gilly is probably for me the doyen of African women in motorsport in Africa. And we've got the comment from Clive Furry, Gilly should be racing a car. Well, we agree. So anybody out there who wants to get involved and sponsor Gilly, Well done. It's a pleasure, Julie. They want to do the TDR. So get on board. What do you guys think? Do you think you should see Julie in a car? Elvene, what do you think?
Yeah, of course. I actually made a comment last night about Sandra. So there's another
Yeah.
female driver that is brilliant in what she does, and so many years in what she's doing. So yeah, and she went overseas as well, and she got a Springbok colours for driving or for navigating.
And another one is Tay Pepper, who's doing the
Tasman.
I mean Tasman Pepper,
Yeah.
doing the
Yeah.
Formula
Phenomenal.
W.
Yeah,
And I mean, she comes with a proper pedigree of
100%.
racing.
and she's done international as well. So
So
she's
what we
got the
need,
experience.
and we started with Terence yesterday, and going out to somebody knows somebody about, we're going to make this a thing and run with, we want an all-female crew for cross-country racing. We need a shload of euros. So you who's looking after the shload of euros at all these South African companies that say, oh my God, we support women. Here's your opportunity to truly show that you can support women. Stephie, give us some other, there's got to be a little bit of Skinner and some stuff that you can tell us.
You're so funny, Colin. Before we go to the Skinner and stuff that I can tell you, I really do quickly want to shout out, and they've been so loyal. They've been online every single night. Very good friends of ours in Mexico. They run an online magazine called 360 San Lami. Gracias, Ed. Good to have you on board. I'm so happy.
Hola,
that you are
Mexico.
Hola, Mexico. Friends who send us a lot of information, especially about the Bajas and, of course, the Sonora Rally, which
Yeah.
is going to be happening again next year. An interesting thing did come up that people may or may not be aware of is that Seb Loeb actually tested the CR6 in February. So that was at a point where he was looking around. But, of course, as we all know, he's in the Hunter BRX. So pity. It would have been nice to see him in the team with Brian and Matthew and Yazia and
I'm
Marcelo.
told, Steffi, that he also tested a Hilux Bucky, but Seb Loeb comes with a price tag, almost like a factory bike. It's in euros, and you need a mud of a big piece of paper to write all the euros in. And no doubt ProDrive, who've thrown a lot of money at that Hunter thing, that has been watched because it's got the Ford V6 motor in it. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where that goes.
But that's also a nice combination of
Yeah.
Sebastian Loeb and Daniel Elena. How
Yeah.
many championships have they won together, and how many years have they been together? I just love watching those two. They just gel.
And
as
you know
well.
what's lekker is, I mean, Daniel he's a perfectionist. And was it last year or the year before
When he had to dig.
when he got sick of digging? And eventually it was like, take this Peugeot and put it where the sun don't shine. I'm out of here. And I'm told that he started walking away from the car. He was hot
Yeah,
full
but
of
you're
this.
tired. You're tired. I went to Namibia to test.
Yeah.
We should have done Dakar 2 years ago. And we went testing in Namibia. And I promise you, I got stuck probably 200 times. I lost like 3 kilograms just in one day by digging the car out of the sand. It's such a hard job to do. And I take my hat off to these guys and girls that do it every
I
day
think it's
in Dakar.
absolutely
It's phenomenal.
fantastic. And you look at
Yeah.
I
Tay-
wanted to bring that question up and how Elvene feels about digging.
Digging
That's
cars.
not something you've got to be
Look,
ready for. Yeah.
I love the sand. I love the sand. We've been to the beach now on holiday, and I went up the dunes, and we actually got beer boxes, and we glided down the dunes with beer boxes. I just love the sand. I love it.
but on the beach, not with a racing car that you've got to dig out.
Look, preferably not the racing car that you need to dig out, because then you're losing time. But I'm good at it.
Well, there's a plus. Steffi, the other thing I want to just talk about, mentioning the Hunter car. I mean, they're stuck. That is proper stuck on a bike. On the BRX, the ProDrive car, it's got the Ford EcoBoost engine turbocharged, and you've got the diesel turbo, and you've got normally aspirated petrol, and that balance of performance thing. And the FIA have got a huge delegation there at the moment to see how the different performances of the cars run, and they're downloading info every day, and they've got the ability to modify the balance of performance on all of it. So I wouldn't expect to see the ProDrive, the BRX car, run super fast in the beginning, because they've got to pull the wool, I think, sandbag, not show the true potential of the car, and look for doing things properly next year. One would think. What have you heard about cars and BOPs, Stephie? Or is it just all dead quiet?
Colin, I was just going to say absolutely nothing. So, but going back, Elvene, I'm sure you'll agree, I don't care who pays Seb Loeb what, but just let's please look at him. He must be at the Dakar.
Has to, Stephie has to.
Part of our audience will absolutely agree with you.
Him and a couple of others.
So who are the other couple of
Oh,
others?
Colin, come on.
Come on, tell us. Your
Stephie,
husband,
cut in here, please. Help me out. Help me out.
Andrew, help us out with some other questions, because we know the Facebooks and the YouTubes have been going wild. What's happening there?
Well, talking of faces, Elvene's face looks the same color as Henny's Bucky in the background.
She's
But
blushing,
moving on
but properly here.
Really?
We'll move on from that one. Mark Berger from Higher Ground says, how's it? He's joined us. There's a question from Michael Horn, no relation to me, wanting to know if the vehicles in the Dakar can use different types of tires, or if they've got to sort of select it beforehand.
The rule,
answer that one.
there's yes and no. How's that for an answer? The top 35 cars have to choose and specify what tires they're going to use for the duration of the race. That's a make and a construction. So that's designated that, yes, but it has been known that compounds might have been varied. So the idea is that they want, you don't want to have a huge tire war where the manufacturers come in and just throw all sorts of tires in it. So essentially Michelin and BF Goodrich have got one make of tire for all the 4x4 cars and one for the two-wheel drive buggies. So further down the line, you can, because you are not deemed to be fighting for the lead and for the win, you can basically get away with using what tires you want to.
Okay, next question for you. Fritz Dielman is asking about the classic retro Dakar, and if there are any South African entries within that, and I don't think there are there?
No, they're not. And hell of a interesting. Today we were having a discussion about how many euros it costs to get going in that. And this year, as far as we know, if you don't take a trailer and all the rest of it, entry fees is about 7,000 euros. But it's not a race in the true form of the old Dakar. It's a regularity rally. But they've set the speeds relatively high, and you can go and have a bit of a gooi. There's some really cool cars there. There's a Jackie X replica Porsche. There's also a Jackie X replica G-Wagon, which sounds proper, not like a G-Wagon crap that you get now.
Range Rovers.
There's some Range Rovers.
Mercedes G-Wagon.
Yeah. Well, I want to know there should be a Citroen 2CV, and I haven't been able to see that.
The Bucky one.
No, that little frog-eyed, the 2CV, the one that falls over.
Oh, yeah.
It would be brilliant. So no, there are no South Africans, but I did speak today to somebody who is committed. If they run it again, he's committed to doing it next year, or he really, really wants to. In a Porsche.
Nice. Peter Anker was saying the only way to sort out BOP is give them a top speed limit, which they have done this year. Cars at 180 k's an hour and side-by-sides are at 130, and Garth Roberts has put that into the comments.
Yeah, except the top speed is not that critical when you have a road that doesn't allow the top speed to be used. But if you've got a road, particularly in the dunes, torque is the thing that counts. End of discussion. It doesn't matter about your top speed. If you haven't got enough torque, or if you've got enough torque, you can power up it. If the road is really, really tight, you want something that has got instant power delivery and very, very good traction. So BOP is not all about top speed. It's also about the type of terrain that you're going through, as well as the two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive BOP. Are you going through chains of dunes and then rough roads and chains of dunes where the two-wheel drives have got the advantage of automatic tire inflation, whereas the 4x4s don't? So I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
The BOP fight, I mean, how many times have we had the BOP fight on this show with regards to GT3 racing and sort of the various aspects that affect the different cars, the different weights, the torque delivery, what the restrictor does. I think you're into a minefield there.
What FIA have done now is that they've said you don't want to bring in a turbo engine and make all the other engines obsolete, because it's just stupid. I mean, there are probably 80 or 90 odd Toyotas in various guises running around the world. There's 35 or 40 Fords running around the world, and so the idea is to take a 5-liter V8 engine and to map that, put it on the dyno in Switzerland, which was done, and get a map of it so you've got a power curve and a torque curve. Then take the Ford engine, which was done as well from NWM, Woolridge sent it over there, and run that and put that in a map. And ProDrive had to send theirs. And what FIA have done is said, this is the power curve that all engines may not exceed. And they've, at different altitudes, you've got different boost and different things to get the turbo in. So the turbo will run not a power curve, not of greater area and above the 5-liter. And remember that FIA and ASO are French. So if you've got a French company that's got really, really good influence there, you've got a good chance. If you've also happened to be German and your surname is Quant, you've also got a very, very good influence with them. So there's facts and there's politics and there's science, and they all mix up.
And there are rumors as well. You can never rule out rumors. And Garth Roberts has got a really cool rumor for us that the Hunter will be running a hydrogen car from 2022.
It's
rumor is the word.
Whether it's the Hunter, there is another buggy that's committed to 2022 hydrogen.
Audi.
Yes.
Yep.
An Audi. Yeah, let's wait and see. Is that what you got, Andrew?
That is it for now. Terry Wilford has joined us and says, how's it? And that's about all.
Colin, can I jump in here?
Please do, Stephie, please.
News just in. So we know that Shamir and Janelle and Brian and Tay had a rough day. But we've just heard from BBG that they have been given permission to have a better start position tomorrow. So they get 3 in the race, and they will be able to opt for a better starting position so that they can escape the dust. So anybody out there who's got information on this, come on, start the convo.
They were going to start 35th. And
yes.
When you're 35th, there's a 30-second dust gap to the car in front of you. And there were 5 trucks. And tomorrow you definitely do not want to be anywhere near a truck.
Yeah.
It's got to be really not so
that's
lekker.
Scary.
But we've got a picture, just scary.
Yes.
For those of you at home, Fritz has got a little video for you. Turn your volume up to the absolute maximum. Put earpieces in or whatever. Turn your surround sound on. When this thing plays, this is especially for Simon Murray, who, if he could, would race one at Dakar. In fact, Simon Murray has actually asked Stuart Thompson whether they can run one of these things in Dakar. How's that truck, Fritzy? That thing, if you stand next to them, the ground shakes. They're big and are absolutely proper. Right, Stephie, what's next?
You know what? I actually want to throw a question at Elvene now. And this is just in terms of Dakar 2022. So you guys are going. How big is your crew that you're going with, Elvene? Give us some more info about what's going to be happening. What is your planning? Why are you laughing?
Yes, Elvene, tell us.
No. Where have you got, Stephie? Who's been feeding you information here? No.
The grapevine is wild with rumors.
No,
And
look,
we're just bringing you a rumor and seeing if we can. You're blushing again.
Rumors will be rumors, but
Okay.
Dakar is never off the table.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's been a bucket list thing, and it will stay there until we do it, and then we want to go back for more.
If somebody's close to Neil Woolridge, Neil, we want to talk to you on Saturday. On Saturday, in case anybody is wondering, Saturday is Dakar Raceday. So it's regroup, and it's a mega achievement to make Raceday. The cars get rebuilt, and the media descends on like leeches onto the drivers and the teams and all the rest of it. So what we've decided to do is to spend the day in our studio with all the stuff that we've got here and hook up video interviews with what we're terming it the Day of Legends, and talking to people who've done all sorts of stuff. There's a list that's going on at the moment. We will be talking to people in Saudi Arabia. At the moment we're waiting for confirmation for a lot of the Century team. The head of Glen Hall, we are waiting for confirmation to talk to him. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to Henk. We certainly will be talking to Henk's daddy. And we're going to be talking to a lot of the bikers. So if any of you have got access to people who you believe other people would be interested in, send their numbers and ask them to contact us, because certainly we'll provide a platform for them to tell the story. It's not about us, it's for anybody, any legend, any person who really believes they've got something to add to the Southern African Dakar influence. We'll provide the platform. That's on this Saturday, starting from around about just after coffee and breakfast o'clock until nearly dark o'clock. That's the official timing that our scheduling department has given us. And Stephie, you've got a couple of people lined up for that as well, haven't you?
Colin, yes. And you know what, I'm so excited. I love talking to Dakar alumni because they've got so much inside information. So just as a little teaser, Graham Sharp from Zimbabwe will be joining us. Graham Sharp was the first Zimbabwean on a motorcycle to finish the Dakar in 2020. And of course, Stuart Gregory, our Muller Motor specialist. Stuart will be with us. And if you want to see who else is going to be on that panel, you're just going to have to join us on Saturday. But shoot us some messages. Who would you like to see there? The Dakar Legend Wall of Fame. Who would you like to see us chatting to on Saturday? I can't wait.
You want us to chat to Sebi Loeb, don't you?
Absolutely.
But my French is...
No. Elvene wants to chat to Sebi Loeb.
Yes, let me chat to you. But
Okay, so you come here, and then we'll try and call him, and then the two of you can chat. Yes.
But the one thing is, Leroy told me, because Sebastian Loeb is up there,
Yes.
but Leroy told me he met him, like when he did Dakar 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
I should never meet him. So your idol, you should never meet.
That's very, very, very good advice. I met Nigel Mansell once, and I was so disappointed. What a top.
I met Nikki Lauder and Jackie X, and I thought they were absolutely bloody brilliant. So I got lucky.
Heroes wisely.
I got
Well,
lucky.
look, like Stefan Petterhansel pulled Pedronski, and I mean NASA helped that
Yeah.
bike rider. So there's some of them that's really, really nice. But apparently Seb is a French.
The French are...
Talking of legends, we've got Vito Bonafide saying, Elvene,
Vito.
just remember, co-drivers are special.
Oh,
Vito, you are very,
Vito
very
is one of the
special.
legends. I want to talk to Vito on Saturday. He's one of them.
You know what? You talk about seriously good people at the top end of their sport and heroes, and how nice they are.
Yes, there's
Vito
one of them.
is one of them.
Absolutely a
Just
gentleman.
a true,
Yeah,
passionate guy who...
absolutely. And
Lekker
even
ook-
Gennaro, his son,
Yeah.
Gennaro. Oh, just love them.
I mean, and Vito was... Oh, man, the guy could tell drivers where to go. Hey?
I know. I
Proper,
know.
proper. We interviewed him at Vito. You remember at Kyalami, 9 hour, when 2 years ago? I had to stand on a bloody oil drum to get up there to the same altitude as him.
Try and hugging him. You go up there.
Not by. I'll leave the hugging of Vito to you. Right. We are getting, I'm told, that the production department is getting calls from the legal department, who are getting calls from the marketing department. So we need to get this thing wrapped up. And it's even going dark in the southern tip of Africa, close to the sea. Stephie, final thoughts and stuff about tomorrow. And what are we looking for tomorrow?
So tomorrow we're actually looking at the longest stage if you include the liaison. So it's not the longest special stage, just the longest stage. So they've got a long, long haul from Wadi Ad-Dawasia right up into the capital of Riyadh. We've got a 476 kilometer liaison with a 337 special stage. They're saying it's not going to be, it's not going to stretch the competitors. But beware, I always say beware of the Dakar mistress. She is a cruel one. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Let's see what happens. And thanks again for having us. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Horndog, last thoughts from you?
Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. I think, as you say, that they say it's not going to be hard on them, but there's always a sting in the tail. And one last comment just on the classic class. Apparently it's running on the point system and a slightly altered route compared to what the other guys are doing.
Yeah,
So
No,
it's not
yeah.
a bit of food
race
for thought.
time. Yeah.
No, you can't take those
Yeah.
valuable bits and pieces. The interesting thing about tomorrow's route, the cars they all follow the same road, concurrent road to the start of the stage. So along that road at any time you can service. And there's a planned stop around about 70 kilometers from the end, where certainly on the side-by-sides they're changing belts and all sorts of bits and pieces on it and adding fuel. We know that a lot of the cars will be adding fuel there, and then also towards the end, as they come out, add fuel to take them into the bivouac. Elvene, what you following Dakar? You've got your spy as chief mechanic over there, and lots of people sending you messages. What are you hoping for in the next days of Dakar?
I'm hoping for Henk and Brett to be up there. I mean, running 7th overall on day 3, it's brilliant.
As a
Even
rookie.
to be in top 15, I would say it's amazing. Brian and Tay is doing extremely well as well. Hats off to her, because she hasn't been navigating for too long. Luckily, the bikes helped her a lot. I think it's very difficult to stack off for navigators. It's a real test, and I think a lot of them will burst into tears when they miss a waypoint. But I mean, I really hope Henk can keep it up there and don't, go too fast too quickly, because there's still a next week to look through and to follow through. So yeah.
We're not even a third of the way through this race. Elvene, South African champion navigator, multiple times. I'm told that the key deciding feature on Elvene getting the job with Leroy Poulter in the S2000, the single biggest feature that solved it,
It's my personality.
was apparently the team principal said, yeah, you better choose her because she's light and she's small and we need all the weight advantages we can get. Apparently, that's how the legend goes. I won't ask if it's true, but you did bloody well, and we're so proud of all of your achievements from the rallying and what you've done in the cross country. We really look forward to supporting you and Lance at Dakar next year.
Thank you.
And if you go, if it happens, and the whole of South Africa is behind you. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
taking your
Thank you.
time coming in here.
No, thank
I've
you for
enjoyed
the-
it, and I'm sure that our readers
Loving
have.
it. Thank you.
And that's it from another edition, day 5, stage, or was it day 4, stage 3, just the two of us, and there's all of you out there. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again tomorrow. But before we go, I need a very special word of thanks to our whole production crew and their assistants, particularly to Henk and Fritz, and also to the legal department for sorting out the issues earlier today. And also, remember, if you want cool cars, all sorts of cool cars, come down to Vatswaye, talk to Corbet, tell him I sent you, and that you've come for your special discounted price. Thank you for watching. Remember, be lekker. See you tomorrow. Cheers.